girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Herbert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, Impact Wrestling Rebellion review. I know it's Wednesday. Show was Sunday night. I was hoping to get it up Sunday night. You know, life happened. Finished it Monday morning. Just haven't got a moment to do the video. So we're just going to run down this card, what I thought of it overall. I thought it was a good show. It's probably one of Impact Wrestling's better shows of 2021. One thing they did announce is the next 3 shows. They've been doing their monthly special on Impact Plus and Fight, and then they have their the major pay-per-view on Fight. So they announced Under Siege May 15th. They announced Against All Odds June 12th. Then they announced Slammiversary sometime in July. They didn't give an exact date. But yeah, so those 2 Impact Wrestling Plus specials, also on Fight TV. So it's kind of intriguing, the Under Siege. This was announced prior to the finish of the main event. So it's like, you're giving us a teaser of what's going to happen without telling us what's going to happen. So we're going to run down this card. First match, we had a triple threat match for the Impact Wrestling X Division Championship. Throughout the years, the X Division title has been that kind of what the Intercontinental title for WWE used to be, that workhorse title, that kind of developmental title, where you give somebody the X title and you build them up, and then main event, AJ Joe, Daniels, those kind of guys, Chris Sabin. We had champion Ace Austin, who to me can be a world champion in an Impact Wrestling or another indie company, versus TJP, former X Division champion, versus Josh Alexander, former one-half member of the North with Ethan Page. He's on this little single run since Ethan Page is over in AEW. But yeah, like I said in the preview, I thought this was going to be one of the best matches of the night, which it turned out to be. I ended up giving it 3.5. Great little starter match. Kind of the kind of match you want to start with that kind of gets the crowd up. I know there's no crowd, but gets the TV audience up and going like, hey, this show's going to be awesome. And then we had Josh Alexander, our new X Division champion, just like I said in the preview. It was like, okay, you kind of seen the writing on the wall. You had Ace Austin versus TJP, and then Josh Alexander won his way into it. I'm so glad to see him with the championship. He's one of the most talented guys on the roster. Cannot wait to see him flourish with this. Did that 3.5 star. Next up, we had an 8-man tag. We had James Storm, Chris Sabin, Eddie Edwards, and Willie Mack versus Violent by Design, which is Eric Young, Diener, Joe Doring, and Rhino. Found out when the show started that Eric Young was not cleared to wrestle. He would have a substitute wrestling for him in the 8-man tag. Some speculation on who it was. It ended up being W. Morrissey, formerly known as Big Cass. Big guy, we all remember Big Cass from Enzo and Kaz and NXT and WWE. Looks pretty fit, looks like he's kept himself in shape. And him and Enzo have been doing some stuff on the indies. Sometimes that comeback story is always there for a lot of guys, and this is his second chance. So let's see what he does with it. Debuting here at Impact Wrestling alongside Eric Young's Violent by Design. Once they announced him taking Eric Young's place, you kind of knew that with a debut like that, that team was winning. They did. Violent by Design did beat Storm, Sabin, Edwards, and Mack. I didn't give that match 3 stars. Actually a pretty decent little 8-man tag. W. Morrissey did look pretty good. Hopefully they kind of build him up and make something of him. Let him kind of that comeback story for him. Next up we had former tag partners turn on one another. We had Matt Cardova versus Brian Myers. They've been tagging since 2005. They've only had like 4 singles matches. Matt Cardova came in after Brian Myers at Impact Wrestling. Myers was like, hey, you're following me, and you're just a second coming to me, and blah, 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 blah. Kind of in their little back and forth. They set this match up. Possible knee injury for Matt Cardova. And I say possible because he was sitting there holding his knee like he was hurt. The ref kind of kept Brian Myers back. Brian Myers goes over, attacks him. The ref didn't stop him. He ends up holding him up for the pin, 1, 2, 3. So we'll see where this goes, if it's truly a knee injury or if it was part of the story angle. But Brian Myers getting the victory. I mean, it was like a 2-star match of that. Next up, we had the Impact Knockout Tag Titles on the line. We had champion Fire and Flava, Kiera, Hogan, and Tasha Steelz. First is Jordynne Grace and her new partner, Rachael Ellering. As we seen 2 weeks ago in Impact, Jazz lost to Deonna Purrazzo, which means Jazz had to retire. Now Jazz was here as a manager role with these two. Rachael Ellering came out last week to save Jordynne Grace. Obviously, she was the mystery partner that they had talked about. Like I said in the preview, typically when you debut somebody like they're debuting William Morrissey, you debut Rachael Ellering, they win. Jordynne Grace, Rachael Ellering, your new Impact Women or Impact Knockout Tag Team Champions. So Fire and Flavor were the initial champions. Kind of turning that page now. We'll see what happens. Now I think Rachael Ellering, very talented women's wrestler. She was in Mae Classic and she was developmental for NXT for a short time. Second generation, Paul Ellering, manager of the Road Warriors, was her dad. So we'll see what that second generation can do for her. They need to do a second generation women's faction in WWE. Charlotte Flair, Rachael Ellering, Tessa Blanchard. How about that faction? But any hoodles, we got Grace and Ellering, the new Knockout Tag Team Champions. I gave them match 3 stars, get a little match to watch. Next up, we had the last man standing. We had Trey Miquel versus Sami Callihan. Trey Miquel was going to sign with WWE, had some personal issues. Did not. His former Rachael buddies did. MSK, NXT Tag Team Champions. Trey Miquel ended up coming back to Impact Wrestling. Somehow started this feud with Sami Callihan. They ended up making the last man standing. Like I said in the preview, the only other previous match they had, Callihan won. There's no point in Callihan winning this. We're kind of building up Trey Miquel at this point. So him getting the victory, I did give it 3 1/4. Actually, it was a pretty good little match to watch. Watching Trey Miquel kind of develop into a singles wrestler. I would love to see a Trey Miquel versus Josh Alexander for the X title. I think that would be pretty good. Even Trey Miquel versus Kenny Omega or Rich Swann. We all know Kenny Omega won. But yeah, seeing Trey Miquel kind of build himself up and becoming that singles guy, I'm getting the victory there. Next up, we had the Impact Men's Tag Team titles on the line. We had the Good Brothers versus FinJuice. FinJuice, the reigning Impact Tag Team Champions. They won the belts, took them to Japan. Now they're back from Japan. To be honest with you, this match wasn't much. I ended up giving it 2 3/4. I thought in the preview, I figured the Good Brothers are going to win, and let's get a lot of the titles kind of on AEW television. But no, FinJuice get the victory. Quick little roll up, little schoolboy. 1, 2, 3. 2 3/4. I gave it. So as we go to Under the Siege, we'll see where this goes. Are they going to make it kind of like an invasion with New Japan, or are they going to be aligned with Impact and AEW's the heel? I'd love to kind of see where this all ends up with. I'd like to see more New Japan guys in Impact Wrestling like we have in the past. I'd like to see more Impact guys on AEW. And so kind of really get Don Callis, Kenny Omega, and Good Brothers private party for a hot second. That's all you've really seen. So I want to see some of the female tag teams on AEW go for the Impact Tag title, Knockout titles. Next up in our sub-main, we had the Impact Knockout title. We had champion Deonna Purrazzo versus Tenille Dashwood. Tenille Dashwood and her friend, Caleb with a K, or like Caleb Conley. But now this match really wasn't a lot. I've never been high on Tenille Dashwood's in-ring. She's getting better than she was. This match, Deonna Purrazzo, I think she's one of those where she wrestles to the level of her opponent. So if she's in there with a Tyler Valkyrie, with a Jordynne Grace, with a Tessa Blanchard, that raises her game. When she's in there with a Tenille Dashwood, it kind of comes down a little bit. She did retain her title here. I gave it 2 3/4. I wasn't hot about the match. I kind of knew, like I said in the preview, that Deonna was going to retain. Alright, and now our main event. We had the Impact World Heavyweight Champion Rich Swann versus the AEW World Heavyweight Champion and the AAA Mega Champion Kenny Omega. Now, Yeah. This match started off with a little bit of a cluster. There's 2 referees. So AEW brought their own referee, Audrey Edwards. She's a great referee. I think she does a great job in AEW. Impact had Brian Hefner. Of course, everybody's like, Tony Khan's like, oh, I know you. I know, we are all kind of, without referring to the Earl Screwed Brat, without referring to the Hebner screw job, we talked about the Hebner screw job. But once the match got started, right before this match started, we did have another return. We had Taylor Wilde returning, coming out, challenging Deonna Purrazzo. So we'll probably end up seeing that at Under Siege. But anyway, so we had Brian Hebner out there, we had Audrey Evans out there. Rich Swann, the underdog. Like I said in the preview, it was so obvious that Kenny Omega was going to win this that I had to pick Rich Swann. Because it was that obvious Omega was going to win. Which we all know at this time, Omega didn't win. Just the way Omega won and having Mauro Ranallo out there announcing. When I got done watching this Monday morning, I texted the Click, was like, is Mauro Ranallo not the best announcer at play-by-play guy ever? Of course, J-Man's like, JR in the mid-90s, early 2000s, well, yeah. But, here, watching JR at WrestleMania 20, it's one of the ones I've watched recently, main event, HBK Trip, and Chris Benoit. And just hearing Jim Ross call that match, hearing Mauro Ranallo call a match like this, it's like, holy hell, these guys are just such crafty at their game, Just the things that Mauro Ranallo can put into that play-by-play, not only invest you in that match, but makes you on your edge of your seat when, Kenny Omega hits a J Driller, when Kenny Omega hits, the One Wing Angel, when Kenny Omega B trigger, hits 4 B triggers, and you got Mauro Ranallo's marking out for each B trigger. It's like, oh my God, he should have just when he did the J Driller, it's like, holy hell, you thought Mauro Ranallo was just coming off the map with it. But yeah, just this match was really, really good. I knew Rich Swann could go out there and put on a great match with Kenny Omega. We all know what Kenny Omega can do. Kenny Omega is blown away any rating system that ever was. He made the best rating system in the world mean nothing because it was a 7-star match. Because the dude that does it has got a hard on for Kenny Omega. It's a 5-star rating system. 5 stars the best. I'm sorry. This match wasn't close to 5. I do want to see what Meltzer does give it. I'm saying 4. I was right about 4. Maybe I could go 4 1/4. I could argue that one, but I'm gonna stick with 4. Great match. The future. Where do we go from here? Is what it's like I want to know, but I don't want to know because I want to live it. In 20 years, I want to look back and say, oh, you remember when Tony Khan opened the Forbidden Door? Oh God, yeah. You remember when Kenny Omega won the Impact World Title? That's what's gonna be great because we look back now on the WCW stuff, when the Monday Night Wars, we've lived that, we've seen that, we remember that. Now we have what we have today, I think right now is the best time to be a pro wrestling fan. You have Kenny Omega winning the Impact title. You have him as AEW World Heavyweight Champion. He's a AAA Mega Champion. You have, Finjuice, former IWGP Tag Team Champions winning the Impact Tag titles. You have people just kind of moving around a little bit. But then if you're an indie fan, there's so much content out there you can get a hold of. Plus you got the mainstream WWE stuff. Whew, a lot going on in professional wrestling. But yeah, this show overall was great. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And if you have not seen it, definitely, for my pro wrestling dollar, it was worth it. I had purchased it way beforehand. But yeah, it was a good show. I think there's good things coming to Impact. I think if we wait long enough, Impact will kind of, say it'll never get back to the level it was in 2010, but I think it's going to get better than it was 5 years ago. It's going to get, respectable again. Just like Ring of Honor, it's going to get respectable again. One thing, with Slammiversary in July, I do want to try to go through the Slammiversary just like I do with WWE and do the best of Slammiversary. So, wish me luck on that one. But as always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show, and don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports show content.